Embark Studios has stated they have a 10-year plan for Arc Raiders. But that begs the question, how long will Arc Raiders' success really last? To answer that question, we have to look at it from a subjective and objective point of view. So let's just get into it. It's been nearly half a year since we've all hopped aboard our first shuttle and arrived on topside, and even longer for some of us. And personally, it still has me hooked. Raid after raid, I still find myself engaged and ready to see what kind of journey will unfold. After all, no two raids are the same, and the interactive community remains a focal point of this entire journey. But it wasn't just the game that kept me invested, or the community, but Embark themselves. I can't remember the last time a live service title has treated its community with such respect. For example, I swear they literally just give out free premium currency whenever they feel like it. Whether it was due to a small server hiccup when the game first launched, or in the Raider projects and the limited time events. They're even in the Raider decks. That's technically money they're giving away for free. All you have to do is play the game. And it's not like the game is a chore to play. You can literally play this game any way you want and have an absolute blast. You can be the medic, the friendly raider, the rat, the backstabber, the assassin, whatever you want to be. Embark entrusted its community to create their own stories, and because of that, Arc Raiders will continue to be successful. But for how long? Some could argue that Arc Raiders has already hit its peak. After all, we live in a time where everything is moving faster than ever before, with trends seemingly rotating on a weekly to monthly basis. And the same was true for Arc Raiders. A few months ago, most big streamers were playing it, and I'm not oblivious to the fact that all that exposure helped propel the game into the mainstream. Everyone was talking about it. My coworkers were talking about it, family and friends had heard about it. It was everywhere. 6 months later, we're now out of that honeymoon phase. It's not being streamed as much, some people have moved on, and some of the remaining players feel like the cracks are beginning to show. Whether it's because the updates aren't coming fast enough, or maybe they feel like Embark isn't listening to the community, there's a constant hunt for more content to consume. Even with monthly content updates, some players do not feel like it's enough to satisfy them and keep the game alive. Some streamers have even echoed the same sentiment while begging for specific changes that really only cater to them in the top 1% of players. Of course, they have some valid issues such as the cheaters, the exploits, and other things of that nature. Those things should always be monitored and patched to keep the game healthy and fun for everyone to play. Besides that, Embark seems to be staying strong to their core vision for the game. Rather than listening to the loud minority, they're attempting to listen to the silent majority of players, your casuals, your 9-to-5ers, parents, people who just want to have a relaxing game after work. Following that plan, you'll cast a wider net, catching your average player who want to play your game on a daily basis. But over time, you risk losing your longtime players who have accomplished endgame and maxed out their stash, their upgrades, etc. And the expeditions do not entirely fix that issue. Part of me does feel like Embark is leaning too heavily into the PvE side of things and almost shunning anyone that wants to do PvP. I actually have some mixed feelings about this topic, so I might make a more in-depth video about it soon. Let me know how you feel about PvP versus PvE below, I'm kinda curious. Anyways, with that being said, I know I can't expect everyone to feel the same way I do about Arc Raiders. I only have about 300 hours played, and some of these players and streamers have invested over 1,000 hours. They've gotten everything they've wanted out of the game. Some of them might come back when new content is released, but the excitement won't be the same. And that's normal, not every game can regain the initial hype it had at launch. But at the core of Arc Raiders is a dedicated player base, with one of the best and most solid foundations you could ask for in a live service title. As time goes on, with more content being released, new and returning players will constantly still check out the game. If the game has a guaranteed 10-year life cycle, we're still only in its infant stages. In 6 to 7 months, our idea of what Arc Raiders is might shift dramatically. There's still more story to be revealed, new systems to interact with, and most importantly, a still evolving, dedicated development studio. But there's always going to be other outside factors that will eventually come into play. Most recently, a direct competitor, Marathon, was released. It's an extraction shooter just like Arc Raiders, but it has a more niche PvP/competitive community, just like Tarkov has a more tactical, slow-paced, competitive community versus the casual, play-your-way community of Arc Raiders. And it retains a higher player count compared to its contemporaries for that reason. Not because Marathon or Tarkov are bad games, they're both actually very good, but because Arc Raiders has a more casual, mainstream appeal. That's the simplest way to put it. Competition is good for all games. Every game should push to do better, borrow ideas to make things accessible for everyone, while still offering something for specific players who will play your game because they like the genre, the lore, or the gameplay loop. So as far as 2026, it looks like Arc Raiders will be here to stay, but things can always change, and I would never suggest putting all of your eggs in one basket, so thinking ahead is a natural instinct when looking at the longevity of these types of games. Beyond 2026, we're probably looking at things a little differently. Arc Raiders will have already surpassed its 1-year anniversary, plenty of new games will be on the horizon, things will rapidly change and shift as they always do. But the only way Arc Raiders truly dies is if Embark lets it happen. The 10-year plan mindset has kind of become a meme at this point, with plenty of other live service games using the same phrases and content release strategies over the last decade. But Embark is approaching this more as an ambitious goal rather than a promise. At the end of the day, the players will ultimately decide what Arc Raiders looks like in 10 years. It's going to be a long road ahead, with some amazing updates and updates that might disappoint players. So I guess for now, we need to learn to give Embark the same level of respect they give us. Give them the time to craft good and compelling content. 6 months for a new map is not the end of the world, especially if we know it's going to be top tier, made with passion and love for the community. I know it's hard waiting. We all just want to be fed that new content because we eat through the old stuff so quickly, but we have to realize it's not every game where we can get a team that actually cares about its players and realizes their faults and finds a way to be honest with their community. They aren't perfect. Embark has stated they do not want to make promises they cannot keep, and that's great to see because, like I mentioned, most other live service titles will end up changing or completely scrapping its feature content. Why? Because they could not deliver it on time, or they realized they bit off more than they could chew. And I know it seems like I'm glazing, but I've been a consumer in this industry for over 20 years. I know when I'm being lied to or when I'm being strung along waiting for that next big content update to happen, but it never does. Embark has restored my faith in multiplayer gaming, and I'm grateful for that. So until they make me believe otherwise, I think Arc Raiders will surpass those 10 years and leave an important mark for the future of multiplayer landscapes. If you made it here, thank you so much for watching. Leave your thoughts below and let me know if you believe you'll still be playing Arc Raiders in 10 years. So until next time, be kind to each other. Peace.